This is a test of the Boundary Park alert system.
Hello.
A lot smoother.
Yeah, remember to do everything in advance.
What, like unmute?
Unmute. You have to listen, Dave. This show does not produce itself, you know.
Oh right. Who's the what?
Yeah, no, I do it all.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah. So you just turn up and look pretty.
Pretty damn good, yeah.
Hope you like the backdrop.
Yeah, the mural.
Did that tonight. That was another pre-production bit of wizardry.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Welcome to the Lattice Football Phone-In with me, Matt Dean.
And me, Dave Bradley.
This is the Wednesday show where we talk about Latics.
Sorry, just forgot you there, did you, Matt? Yeah.
Yeah.
How's your week been?
Been all right. I thought yesterday was Wednesday. So it's been one of them weeks.
Well, I haven't seen you since last week, have I really? Because I didn't come to the Dorking game.
No.
Discussed Dorking on the pod anyway. A bit ropey towards the end, and then it really hit home against Wealdstone, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the main point from it all is how good Dorking and Wealdstone both were, footballing wise.
Yeah, definitely.
I was impressed with them both. And I mean, obviously, we're going to come on to our performance last night, but you know, we've made it easy for them, I think. But they've knocked the ball around well, and I've been impressed by the standard of football from the two part-time teams in the division.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think they've just gone full-time, haven't they, Wealdstone?
Have they?
Yeah, this season.
No, I thought your man last week on the phone, he said that they were still part-time.
Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry, you're right.
Remember?
Do you
remember?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I went to Coldplay and got very drunk. But as you can tell from the ref review the other week, yeah.
I know.
But yeah, they played really well, knocked it around. That number 7, what a player. He scored the second goal for Wealdstone. He just ran the show, didn't he? He just ran through the midfield. So a lot more questions than answers for Shez at the moment.
Hey, that was seamless.
Yeah.
Shall we listen to what Shez had to say when you interviewed him after the matches today?
Let's do it. Shez, Lattice Football Phone-In. If you could sum up that performance in the first half.
No, very slow, lethargic. I never expected it. I didn't see it coming. I've kept the same team who's had 2 good results, same players more or less. I brought Dan back in. I was expecting a lot better performance, especially first half. We enabled or we allowed Wealdstone to control the game really. First 5 minutes we looked nice and prime, got good areas up the pitch, but very flat, too stretched.
With the yellow card to Dan Gardner so early, that probably affected his game somewhat, didn't it? You know.
Well, I think Dan was probably our best player. He's got to learn to stop getting silly, stupid yellow cards. He's lucky he didn't get sent off, to be fair. Very lucky. So he's got to learn how to. Gets too many, and they're not really malicious fouls or anything for the stupid bookings. If you're
just
asking
clumsy,
me.
Aren't they?
Saying that, I look at him. It's I think what was that? What minute was it in the game? Very early in the game.
7th minute.
There was a tackle in the game. What was Milesworth Saturday night on Saturday where the referee let it go. So they just. I don't know referees here in this league, but. No, he's got to be careful because he was. To be fair to the ref, he's probably let him off with the second one.
A good early spell of play though in the first half with Hallam Hope, running down the channels.
For 3 or 4 minutes, probably 5 minutes. That's not good enough for us at home. When we're at home, we should be taking care. The tempo of the game was miles better for us second half. The way we went about it, getting them on the back foot, but. We're chasing the game. It's still scrappy and untidy balls when we're in wide areas and picking people out and passing even. But we did play with a bit of tempo second half.
Did you tell the players what you wanted second half?
We did it. We got it. The early goal, give us a lift, and then we often puffed. And there was things, whether the goals offside, I don't know, but I still felt there was a lack of quality in higher up the pitch and create. We should have created more problems for them with the possession we had.
I think the frustration came with the fans because they felt there wasn't a lack of urgency in the last 10 or 20 minutes.
They're not wrong. there was a lack of urgency in the first 45 minutes, which it should never happen. So I'm not happy with the way we played first half. People, like I say, I'm keeping people in the side. I picked the same team. So when you get a result like this, you think as a manager, have you done the right thing, or should have changed it, or should have moved, put other people in? But we need bodies to make us better and stronger.
So the Southend trip, you're looking for a bit more reaction?
I'd like to think so, yeah. Well, we've got to go and win at Southend now. If we go and win at Southend, it's not a bad start to the season. So, but when you're at home, we're in this league. I think we should be winning games at home.
Thanks very much, Shez.
No problem.
The one thing you can't level at Shez is that he's honest in his appraisals of the games, and he sounds as disappointed as the rest of us, doesn't he?
Well, he looked quite hurt and rather shell-shocked by the result last night. When I was talking to him, he was just he was like very resigned in terms of he couldn't believe what had happened from obviously what had happened on Saturday. There were signs there on Saturday, obviously, of being nervy towards the end, but they looked more in control, didn't they? But I think the crowd helped on Saturday, and to be fair, the crowd were getting right behind them last night, weren't they? 6,500.
That goal though from Wealdstone that was fairly early, wasn't it? It did kind of kill it a little bit, didn't it? Anyway, let's bring in Latics Latics Mind, leaderboard, legend, and leader. Paddy. All right, Paddy. You're never going to get an introduction as good as that again off me, right?
No, stick it on my headstone.
That was just a one-off.
Don't put it on your headstone. It's to be all slurred.
Nation sharing.
What
did you make of Shez's assessment of last night's game, Paddy?
Well, yeah, he's pretty much got it bang on. I couldn't really disagree with anything he said. It was shambolic. It was absolutely pathetic in that first half, and he's just said as much, really.
What would you have done? Would you have? I don't know. My brother said he's going to contact us tonight. I watched the game with him last night, and he was absolutely furious that Shez didn't do anything after the second goal went in. Yeah. It was like, we need to change the game now. It's not working. And he wanted to see something, but he didn't make any changes until well into the second half. Would you have done something different?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was crying out for first half sub. The problem is what have you got really? You got Fond up, haven't you? And then do you just go like for like with Porter? You could have really hauled Porter off after 5 minutes yesterday. It was an absolute waste of a shirt.
He was just in his pocket, wasn't he? He was in that number two's pocket, wasn't he? He had him sussed, and he was winning every header. Yeah. Bigger, stronger. We just couldn't do it, could he?
I'd like to see Harry Vaughan involved. I don't even think he was on the bench yesterday, was he? And
rumours are that he's going out on loan.
I know the argument is that he's small and he'll get bullied in this division, but they had some small players who looked all right last night. Dorking had a couple of small lads who looked like they could play a bit. I know the likes of, I refer to Halifax quite a bit because I've seen them over the years, but Billy Waters, Warburton, who've been there, they're not big lads. They can play in this league.
Yeah, Matty Warburton is a good player. He's like 5'7", isn't he? He's not big at all.
Exactly.
But the thing is, for me, he didn't even change the shape, did he?
No.
He could have gone to a 4-4-2, a bit more of a compact midfield. But this Tollett, don't get me wrong, he did move around and look quite lively in the first 5 minutes, but he's sort of stuck in between midfield and attack. And I don't think he can ever make his mind up, and he just seems to get lost. Yeah. And as you say, Porter not doing anything, and Tollett's still indecisive. You got Hope chasing the ball down, which I think the player last night for me was Hope, because he was chasing everything down. He looked more lively when Fondup came on.
But doesn't that say how bad yesterday was? That our best player was our best player because he ran around.
I think Hallam Hope's contribution to the game generally is pretty good. Unfortunately for him, he's not a finisher, is he? He's not composed in front of goal enough, and that's the problem. But I think he's a really valuable player to our team.
His work rate,
he is. He's really quick. He's really fit. He works really hard, and he contributes. He gets the ball, lays it off, and all that kind of stuff. what we needed last night, what real problem was how it was nice of Jack Stubbs' mum and dad to sponsor the game, wasn't it? Because they gave him man of the match. Didn't
felt sorry for him, you know.
And then Shez hauled him off just after. But how he got man of the match, I've no idea.
No.
Like all he did last night was stand on the touchline. I mean, there's one thing like keeping the pitch wide, but he didn't make the runs
all the time.
He's not a wing back. We found that out against Dorking. He played last night more as a sort of out winger, but he's not a great crosser of the ball. He doesn't make the right kind of runs. When he does get the opportunity to cross it, he tends to fluff his lines. So
his crossing was absolutely.
And then down the left hand side, Francis Angol. He's not a wing.
He looks to me as if he's carrying an injury. I don't think he looks like he was in pre-season. He looks like he's got a knock because he's not as fast as he was. He's shying away from tackles.
The way you spoke about him in pre-season, I thought we were going to be getting 10 million for him soon.
He did. Honestly, he looked really good. He looked lively. He was running at players, but I think he's carrying a knock. He must be. You know what I mean? But again, who do you put in? Benny Kutu, who can't defend.
Yeah, I suppose
he can't defend, can he? He can't defend.
Yeah, but
he can't defend. He's good going forward. He is more of a wing back, but he can't defend. But then again, the thing for me is Sheeran is wasted at central defence. Although he's doing a really good job, and I think he played well last night because it was Hogan who was fault for the first goal because he went charging in and let the defender get the better of him and then anticipated it all wrong and let the ball bounce over him to knock it in. Sheeran should be in the midfield with Dan Gardner, the scrappy tackler with the creative midfielder, and then I hate to say it, but Harrison McGay at the back. You know what I mean? But then again, I don't think we lose that edge of pace, then, don't we?
What about Cooper?
Cooper, yesterday. I reckon that he was a bit crap last night. To be fair, he just passed it sideways. He got no belief.
Yeah,
Callum Whelan 2.0 gets the ball in a good position. He won't go forward. He just plays it to Dan Gardner. Just give it Gardner.
You know what the difference was though last night between us and them is that when they got the ball, they were all facing their goal and they were running at their goal, our goal. Sorry, they were facing back to their own goal and they were moving forward as a team. They had momentum. When we got the ball, we had backs to their goal. We were all looking for, there was no momentum. So, and there was no focus to get it forward. And then we're playing these long balls where Porter's losing out, Fondop's losing out. If we were going to do that, because we didn't have any width and we didn't have any effective width, then we needed to load bodies up around the penalty area. I would have brought Fondop and Luamba and put them, and I would have put Hope in and around them and played like a narrow front three. And if we're going to launch balls up like that, so at least you've got enough bodies competing for them. There wasn't like a tactic where it's like, this is what we're going to do.
It was reverting to long ball though. He ran out of ideas.
But if you're going to revert to long ball, make sure that you set the team up to at least be effective while you're doing it. And it didn't happen. No. You still had Stubbs out on the right wing and just two people up front who couldn't get involved, get the knock-ons. Bringing Luamba on with like a couple of minutes to go
90 minutes,
made no sense.
It's a bit embarrassing for the lad as well. That's not going to give him any confidence as well. Coming on for 90 minutes, he's not going to change the game. Is it just
you leave him off or bring him on 20 minutes earlier, don't you?
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I would have given him a lot longer. I mean, to be honest with you, I'd start with him.
But Dan Gardner didn't get man of the match last night, and also how he stayed on the pitch for that amount of time. He was
led a charmed life, didn't he, yesterday?
He did. But again, he looked knackered though towards the end, and I thought when he went down on the halfway line with his knee, I thought, God, here we go, because he's done his cruise shit and he's just come back for that, hasn't he? Do you know what I mean? So it's just one of them, isn't it?
I think what we need
frustrating.
4 or 5 signings, but the signings that come in need to be our best players. The next 4 or 5 signings need to come in and be starters and hit the ground running and be our best players this season. Otherwise, we're going to be a million miles away.
I think the issue with Shez, and he said it again last night, was they don't want to drop to non-league, and we are now a non-league club, which is extremely worrying. What? It is. Players just don't want to come. He said, I can't make them come. Believe me, I'm on the phone every day trying to get people through the door, and it must be a bit demoralising for him. But hopefully when the EFL window shuts,
and they've got no choice.
September the 1st,
Something like that, really early.
It's either you go or you stay here and you just take the money, take the money, which I don't think, players want to do. But then again, you could be worse. Who was that one we had from Spurs last season? What was he called?
Jamie Bolden.
Yeah, that's what you can end up with. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully, but Shez has got a bit more about him, hasn't he? Than Curl. But
the signs aren't encouraging.
But then again, they've had 2 weeks, the owners. We've just bought, there's nearly 6,000 season tickets sold. That must generate some funds for maybe getting some signings in. Like, everyone keeps on banding around Nick Horton. Again, he scored again at weekend, didn't he, for Fylde?
Right.
But is he going to be that sort of player? Because he'll want to start, won't he? And it's going to be one of them, isn't it? He's not going to drop Porter, is he? Because it looks like Porter's his number one choice. I would have played Fondop from the start last night, me.
I never thought that Porter would play a Tuesday game if he's played the previous Saturday, to be honest, just based on his age. So I was really surprised to see him start yesterday.
I guess it's one of those, if your striker scores, you start with him in it. I think it's probably was probably the way of thinking, wasn't it? Yeah, but I think I don't think he's going to start on Saturday anyway at Southend.
No.
But
it's going to be one of that. It's going to be one of them. He didn't look with it, did he? Yesterday, as you say, he looked like he was knackered, weren't it? About 5 minutes in, as you say, it was a waste of a shirt. He tried, but he just looked knackered. His legs have gone.
I mean, to be honest, in the 15 years I've seen him, I don't actually think I've ever seen him have a good game, but he does often score goals, doesn't he?
Well, not even Nottingham Forest on Boxing Day when we beat them 6-0.
I didn't go. I was at City Everton that day. I didn't go.
Oh, Paddy the City fan. Oh, my goodness me.
Yeah, that was good, wasn't it? I remember that.
It was. Yeah,
it was New Year's Day, not Boxing Day, by the way.
Yeah, it was New Year's Day. Yeah.
All right.
Lattice mind speaks.
All right, City.
So, look, it's very early, isn't it? It's all very early. I think we've chopped and changed managers so prolifically. Like, there is room. People are saying Shez not up for the job, blah, blah, blah. We've got new owners. They can't work miracles. We've spoken to the lads from County. We've spoken to the National League podcast lad, Luke. Spoke to loads of people who've said this is not an easy division. It's going to be tough. And we are coming into it off the back of loads of years. Like, last 2 seasons have been our worst seasons at Boundary Park. So it's not exactly a fortress. Like, we've a lot of work to do. Like, all the goodwill and all the, the parades and all the brass bands in the world are not going to turn around our problems overnight, are they?
No.
And I think that, that's obvious. We've not the players that we've kept from last season are players that brought us down. The players that we're adding to the squad are new. They're not the best that are out there. We know that. Because we can't compete with the budget. So we are just going to have to be a bit patient, aren't we? Do you think how long do you think that patience is going to last, Paddy, from a fan's point of view, do you think?
I think it'll wear pretty thin. Do you mean with Sheridan?
Just in general, just before people start getting fed up and like stop going. And
people want to win football matches on a Saturday. So the more Saturdays where we don't win, the more fed up people are going to get. And it's completely justified. I mean, you've known me for long enough now, Matt. I get pretty wound up about them when they don't win on a Saturday. But that's the people go to watch them win games of football, and if they're not doing, then the patience is going to run out. I mean, we spoke.
There is a reset, though, isn't there? We are in a reset phase, aren't we? I mean, we have to remember that, don't we?
In what way, though?
Well, insofar as we've come out the worst 4 years of our history, like on the pitch, off the back of then like 15 years or so, or 20 years or more of just steady decline in terms of like everything. Like, the club is it's fundamentally in a really bad way, like infrastructure wise.
In terms of the pitch, though, it's not too difficult to sign some good players and get them out on the football pitch and win games.
I've got to agree with you there, Paddy, because look at the National League. Every team signs 8 new players every season, don't they? And then they have to gel and they have to work together. And Latics have done the same. Look at Wealdstone. They rely heavily on the loan market, as they said last week, but they signed like 8 new players. There's always churn. And I think there's some questions over, does Sheridan have the nous for the National League? It's been discussed a lot of times on the pod with the National League guys saying he's probably got one of the worst records in the National League. I hope that's wrong, and I hope he can turn it around. Again, it is only 3 games, but every team is in the same boat. You've got to get your players gelling together. And for me, last night, I don't think the players look fit. I think they look absolutely knackered, didn't they? At some points.
Yeah, I mean, they're a part-time side as well, and they just ran rings around us.
They did took the mickey, didn't they?
Yeah.
I met a man who's a City fan. He came watching it, and he said, with the yellow and blue, they look like bloody Brazil against, men against boys last night.
I mean, to be fair, the Dorking game wasn't much better.
No, I mean, it was all round based again around the midfield, though, wasn't it? It was around the fact that we didn't address it, and they were bossing the midfield, and they were overrunning us, and then overlapping us on the wings, getting men over. They were just doing the same things over and over again because we didn't put our stamp on it, get the right men in the right places, nullify their game, and turn it around, and that was the problem. And that's what worries me, is the fact that that's not been addressed in the game. And we've not been able to turn it around. Right, we said, well, we went 3-0 up against Dorking.
Yeah.
But I'd say that it wasn't a comfortable win against Dorking by any stretch of the imagination.
The thing, did you go to File, Paddy?
No.
I went, and it was exactly the same. They ran the midfield, they went wide, cross, goal, and then Nick Horton scored a screamer from just outside the area. And we had no answers. There was no answer to what. To moving forward, no creativity, and it is a concern. It is a concern, but I'm me, the eternal optimist. I've got faith in Shez. Delusion, Dave. Yeah, I think it's just getting these signings, a few more signings, because we are thin on the ground. We are, I think we've still got 24 players, 25. With but Lewis Maynard, I hope he'll come good and come in and just hopefully get him into the mix.
Where's the ref review?
I don't know.
Was there, wasn't it?
Well, I thought you put it in.
I did.
Is there?
Oh yeah, I didn't put it into the thing. I didn't upload it. Oh yeah, I did. There it is. Anyway,
he was offside though, wasn't he?
Yeah, miles off.
Yeah, I thought he was.
It was a good cutback from Hope, but Fondop was offside. So yeah, it's. Well, we'll talk about the ref in a minute anyway. So
yeah,
I think we should.
Yeah, don't forget that this is a football phone in, which means
you can
phone in, but in a very modern sense. I just need you to click the link that's in the comments here. This one, just click this link, and you can be like Paddy, only not as good at Latics Mind,
or in a Fleetwood shirt,
or wearing Fleetwood shirt. Yeah,
I am.
All right, no need to swear. You can join in the conversation, but first, this is very, very popular already. This popular feature.
Well, TikTok's gone melted down, didn't it? It
did,
just stopped for. They had to reboot TikTok. I got told, and they said don't put another one up.
Yeah, well, guess what's coming up later on TikTok?
Well, there we go.
Come on, ref!
Go away!
That's a shocking decision!
Calm down, play advantage.
Ref, the ref review.
Hi, I'm Dave Bradley, and I'm a great referee, and also King of the Laws. I'm here to talk to you about the performance by Andrew Miller versus Oldham Athletic and Wealdstone, assisted by Scott Taylor and Emmanuel Ede. Andrew, I'm very sorry, but yesterday's performance was subpar. The yellow card to Daniel Gardner, I'd agree with. The time-wasting yellow cards for Wealdstone, also I'd agree with. Well done and great match control. However, the time-wasting by the keeper by Wealdstone, the keeper had the ball in hand for 26 seconds. Under Law 12, Mark 2, that's an indirect free kick. You missed clear obstructions, Mr. Scott Taylor on Hallam Hope. And I'm very sorry, there was a handball in the area as well, which was also missed by you, Andrew. Andrew, it's a 4 out of 10, and it's a red card from me.
The ref review. Who's Daniel Gardner?
Daniel Gardner is related to Hansi Cronje. Rest in peace.
Did you notice the edit in there, Paddy?
Did you mention that Danny Gardner shouldn't have been on that pitch from about an hour on?
Well,
Or is it all just Blue Tinted report that?
Hey, whoa, the king of the laws speaks his mind as he sees it. So, yeah, we've just got to give him his due. You can't question the king of the laws.
Before we bring in Scott from Southend, shall we do a quick rundown of the just so we know how they got on and where we're all at?
Yeah.
Do the classifieds, National League, just to let you know that we do have a sponsor.
Yes, we do.
For the
I've worked really hard on this as well.
Yeah,
so,
you've worked really hard on this.
So they've managed to agree a few jars here and there.
Here we go.
Beef paste.
Yes, beef.
Beef paste. I love the taste. Beef paste. Beef paste. Beef paste. Beef paste. I love your face.
Filthy man.
So this is the classified, sponsored by Beef Paste.
Yeah. Boreham Wood 1, Aldershot 2, Bromley 1, Torquay 0, Eastleigh 1, Dagenham and Redbridge 1, FC Halifax 0, Southend 0, Gateshead 1, Notts County 1, Maidenhead 2, Altrincham 0, Maidstone 2, Dorking 4, Oldham and Wealdstone, we already know, Woking 2, Scunthorpe 0, Yeovil 1, Barnet 2, and Chesterfield 2, Wrexham 0. And the standings in the league at the moment, Barnet at top on 7, Chesterfield on 7, Woking on 3rd, Wealdstone 4th, Maidenhead 5th, Notts County 6th, Solihull, who are playing tonight against York, which is currently 0-0, are on 7, and Dorking are 8th, and York are 9th, and we're 10th. And I'm not going to say anymore.
Where's Southend?
Southend are 20th.
How many points they got?
They've got 2. So.
2 draws. That means they must be beatable. Let's find out. Scott. All right, mate.
You're right. Yeah, we're beatable.
But you haven't been beaten yet, have you?
We have. We lost the first game.
Oh,
Lost,
you played 3 games.
Played 3.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, we
Stick to producing, Matt.
Yeah, we lost to Boreham Wood opening day, which was a really strange one because I actually thought we played quite well. They were absolute masters of the dark arts, shall we say. A lot of time wasting in that one. Was one of them. I think if they go a goal up early doors, they'll just do that, and you have to say that they're probably quite good at what they do. You might not have to agree with it, but they can do it quite well. And despite getting 2 men sent off, second one was quite late on, but we couldn't find a way past them. The keepers made a couple of really good. So one of them was a worldie, to be fair, a one-handed catch from a volley. So I've never seen a save like it. One-handed. He didn't get the second hand on it till the ball was on the floor, and everyone was just like, "What?" Like,
did you go last night?
No, I didn't go last night. No, I've not done either of the 2 away games yet. Which, last night was obviously Halifax, and then Saturday was Solihull. I think on the face of it, you get 2 draws from those 2 based off of last season's final standings. They're 2 pretty good points on the road, to be fair.
Yeah, not bad.
Missed the penalty last night, which is unfortunately becoming a bit of a theme.
Yeah, you were saying before we came on that we had this last season.
You've got to give us that stat. Go on, mate.
Yeah, well, I didn't come up with it. So someone else has worked out that from the last 12 penalties we've had, which I think goes back to the start of last season, and then obviously the first one of this season last night, out of those 12, we have missed 8. Yeah,
that's pretty bad.
No, it's really, really not good. And off the top of my head, there's been at least 3 different takers there as well.
So you got relegated. You were down there last season, weren't you? You were down here last season, I should say. Yeah. We are in the same boat, unfortunately. And you mentioned the dark arts, and is that something noticeable of a difference from the EFL to the National League? Would you say? Because I noticed it last night from. Who do we play? Wealdstone. They were doing it a bit with the physio coming on and emptying all this stuff and not really using it and putting it all back in and and wasting, like you said, the goalkeeper 26 seconds.
26 seconds. I counted.
Throw-ins,
I thought that's it.
Real time wasting.
To be fair, he did book people for time wasting towards the end of the game, but
it's always towards the end, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's too late.
That's why I got 4 out of 10. That's why I got 4 out of 10. Mate.
I think what I would say is get used to the woeful standard of officiating. it's terrible.
Yeah.
Very, very quickly had to realize. Do you know what I think the worst bit is? It's the fourth officials. It seems, I don't know if it's just us, that I haven't really noticed it at away games. I'll have to keep an eye out for it, but it seems to take them an absolute age to get a sub board ready. They can't work out how to get the right numbers on the board. Because, from the first game of the season, the Boreham Wood game, we had to make an early sub. Someone's come off injured in the 8th minute. We couldn't get the sub on for 4 minutes because he couldn't sort the board out. So, get used to the standard of officiating.
In terms of Southend, then you got Kevin Mayer, who played for Latics for a season, and
he did, yeah.
He was scored a quality goal against. I think was it against Southend, that free kick, Paddy, or was it Carlisle? All right, sorry, 6-1 defeat was it? I think in the end.
6-2.
He never scored many, Kev, but when he did, it was always a bit of a peach.
Yeah, he's best friends with Robbie Williams by all accounts as well. That's a fun fact. His best mate is Robbie Williams. Yeah. So yeah, but what's he like as a coach, manager? Is he doing all right for you? Is he the right man?
Yeah, I think so. I like him. I think he's very good at sort of, on the face of it, for what we see in the press, his man management seems quite good because he can be kind of critical of a performance. Like, by all accounts, last night we were well on top and we should probably have won the game, and obviously we've missed the penalty as well. But then he'll do that in a way that's burying bits of praise in there as well to like build players back up. He won't just be like hammering players for the sake of it. So I think he's the right man for us still.
What's the story then with your chairman and the move to the new stadium and like all that stuff? You know, because he wasn't exactly Mr. Popular last couple of seasons, was he? What's the crack with him? Have things settled down a bit? Is the move on, or what's going on?
It's settled down a little bit. He vanished for a good chunk of last season here. There was a debacle at Solihull last season, which I think, off the top of my head, was around early October, and he ended up in the away end, having it out with supporters, and he wasn't seen from that point until the last game of the season. So he disappeared for a bit, took the heat off him, and so that management were sacked. Not immediately after that game. I think there was one more game. We got battered by Chesterfield, and there was a protest on the pitch and everything, which was, you don't like to see that, but it was going one way. And I think at that point we were in the relegation zone of this division. And it's like we've just got back-to-back relegations. It's like we're just there's no arrest to this slump in sight at that point. But that got dealt with. They were all sacked. That's when Kev came in, and I think since it was about 9 months or so now, I think on the face of it, it's been good. We still struggle to probably put the ball in the net as often as we should be. We can create some reasonable chances, but I wouldn't really say we've got anyone prolific enough. Well, we've got two centre forwards out injured at the moment, which doesn't help, and we had to sell our young striker to Wrexham the week before the season starts. His replacement gets injured 8 minutes into his debut. So we just can't seem to get out the bit when it comes to signing a real goal scorer. But what we definitely seem to be doing is we're looking lower down. Where I'm not sure. I know we picked up two. There was two signings came in this window from this level. Everybody else, I think I'm right in saying, has come from below. So we're definitely scouring these lower divisions, trying to pick up these youngsters.
Oh, Christopher Ray is a good signing from Banbury because they're flying. I think they're top of the league in the National League North now. But
quite well, haven't they?
Played 19, scored 21. So he's not.
I think he got like 18 assists as well or something. Yeah. He had a great season. So, he scored. He scored up at Solihull. Scored a really nice goal up there. You with a signing like that, it's probably not been a big investment for us. So certainly worth the gamble.
Is it one of those? I mean, obviously we've just got rid of our owners who've taken us down this far, and now we've got new ones, and we'll have to see how that goes because it's all new. Early signs in many respects are good, so we're optimistic. What's the story? I mean, do you think that you need to change ownership? Is he going to leave? Is he going to just carry? Because obviously the problems they stem from the top, don't they?
Yeah.
And you're struggling big time. Are fans just kind of like now? Just you've done a bit of protesting, but I mean, you have a podcast, right? Is that?
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
What's the general feeling about like? Do you think now you're going to just be at this level for the foreseeable? Because when you look at the money that's come in, the teams that are here, do you think you're going to be here for a long time?
Yeah, if I'm being brutally honest, I do. I personally don't think this club gets another promotion under its belt with the current chairman. I don't, because he may have all the best intentions in the world, but I simply don't think his pockets are big enough. There's a lot of money in football now, even at this level, and yeah, sadly, I just don't think he's got the deep enough pockets. There's still bits of information come out. Okay, of course it's all rumours, but when it keeps happening, you think, is there some truth to this? Of people not getting paid, not players, not management yet, because that has happened in the past. But there's allegedly staff, getting paid late, and you just can't run a business like that, because that's just going to seep through. And we missed out on one signing in particular this summer, Josh Kelly from Maidenhead. Because they flat out wouldn't deal with us because of our previous misdemeanors. We don't, we're not good payers. So
that
it's costing
sounds
us in that
very,
sense. Now we're getting
very
a reputation.
familiar.
Yeah,
very familiar. Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? It doesn't.
It's just sad.
It is.
It shouldn't be allowed. The fit and proper persons test and all that. That where they have to proof of funds. It doesn't mean a thing, does it? Because there's no fines, punishment, or any points deduction in terms of staff or players not getting paid, even though when you go into administration you just get hammered 12 points. So there should be some form of points deduction for me, or it shouldn't be allowed. Or I don't know what's your views on it, Paddy.
Yeah, well, I mean, does the National League even do checks on things like that? How long's he been there, the Southend chairman?
Over 20 for definitely 25 years.
Oh, God, so it's like EFL.
Yeah, it's a long time. It's a long time.
Right.
I remember when he came in. Yeah, I've been going, I think 26 years now. I think So he's. I remember when he came in. So yeah, I'd say it's about 25 years.
It's crazy how they split through the net, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, were the checks even as big as they are now? And they're pathetic now, aren't they? But I bet there was very little checks going on 20 years ago.
From the little that I've seen of the guy, like in terms of when speaking and media and social media and all that kind of stuff, he seems like he's very much of the opinion that he knows what he's doing and he knows what's best for the club, and that and that everybody else's opinion isn't quite up to the level of his opinion. But if he's been there for 25 years and he's presided, or you were in League One, in the National League.
I mean, we had a year in the Championship 15 years ago. We had one season in the Championship, and now we're 15 years later. We're in uncharted territory. This is the lowest level we've ever sunk to.
That was the Freddie Eastwood days, that weren't it?
It was,
yeah, flipping heck. I remember first watching him for Southend against us, and he just tore us a new one, didn't he?
Yeah, he's the best player that I've seen play for Southend. I just missed Stan Collymore as a player, but Freddie's the best player that I've seen.
None of us were at this one, but Rob was. Oldham 0, Southend 1. Rob's first game in the 72-73 season.
Yeah. So who do we have to look out for? Who's your best player? Tell us a bit more about your squad. Who do you rate? Who's good, or is it all a bit doom and gloom? Because you seem quite down.
No. I mean, I think we've got good players. We've suffered again at the start of this season with a little bit of an injury crisis. I think we're already 7 or 8 players down, with a couple of little knocks. I don't think any of them are particularly long term, other than the 2 strikers that we've had out. One of them's had knee surgery. Sort of around October, November last year, and the other one ruptured his Achilles towards the end of last season. So, yeah, that's the two that you could probably get away with one of them being out, but when you've got both of them out, it's like you just can't get out the bit. Best players, I don't know if it's a good thing. I bet best player is probably the goalkeeper
with his one-handed catches and stuff. Are you pretty solid? Are you pretty solid at the back then? Because you got the 2 draws away from home. Are you pretty tough to break down?
It's difficult because as I say, I didn't go to either of those games. So yeah, on the face of it, it would seem so. We've defended quite well. We've had a young lad make his debut at right wing back on Saturday, and he played again last night. Who seems to have done really well. Listen, we have got other good players. Noor Hussein, centre midfielder, I think is a very good player, but he's probably not going to play. He's injured, didn't play last night. Nathan Ralph, I think, is a very good player for this level. Jack Bridge, Dan Mooney, Callum Powell. Callum Powell's probably our greatest threat at the moment. Very busy forward. Like, I'm not sure he's a centre forward. I prefer him as a wide forward, but he's been playing through the middle because we're a little bit short. Very pacey, very tricky, very busy. It's just not quite happening for him in front of goal at the minute.
We should have no fear of bringing him down in the box though and giving you a penalty. I think if he's going through on goal, and as long as it's not a red card offence, bring him down and you'll miss the penalty.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
like you've got like a 60% chance of missing or something like that. So the odds are pretty good. So
pathetic, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's a tactic that our defenders need to keep in mind for Saturday. So
coming from the EFL down to the National League, what have you enjoyed? Like I said, the top 5
None
things
of
you've
it.
enjoyed. Right. and
you know what? Last season, I think the only one of the good things was you could go back to football again. That was like, but very quickly that novelty wore off when at the start of the season we won the first game, but then I don't think we got another win for like 7 or 8 games, and it's like, oh, we're still like terrible. So yeah, that novelty very quickly wore off, and I think if you come down to this league thinking you'll be all right, not necessarily thinking you're going to bounce straight back up, but you think you'll be all right, you'll get a rude awakening quite quickly.
Tell him he's wrong, Paddy. Paddy believes that we will always be. The expectation is that we will. After that bad result last night, Paddy, we're going to go to Southend and win what? I mean, we should be winning what? But at Southend, like what?
No, I don't think the division's easy. I think there's certain games that should be easy, and Dorking and Wealdstone are games that should be easy. But I think we're going to struggle on Saturday.
I don't think Southend's not a place that I can recall as being particularly.
It's always been the first memory of me for Southend was when Ian Snowden scored the own goal in the 94-95 season. When we signed him from Everton under Graham Sharp, and he was meant to be the next big thing after Richard Jobson was sort of injured before going to Leeds. And we signed Ian Snowden, and he scored this awful own goal, and that's probably my memory of Southend in a nutshell, really. Getting beat 1-0. It's always a 1-0 defeat and always a last-minute goal or something stupid that happens. But then again...
The only time I've been to Oldham, it's the coldest I've been at a football match. It was that game in 2011. It was FA Cup. I think it was a replay, and the winner would have played Liverpool at Anfield.
Yeah. And it was cold. Was it cold then, was it?
Cold. It was cold. I'm pretty sure it was snowing.
You've got the you've got all the southern teams at least, because for us now it's very much a southern league, isn't it? The National League. There's a lot of southern-based teams in there. There's more. We've not got that many in our locality. We're going to York in August. We've got Halifax. We've got Chesterfield. Chesterfield's not exactly close. It's Wrexham. Scunthorpe's not close. County. Yeah, but there's not really considering how many teams there are in our region.
Yeah.
Paddy's going down like the trooper he is with his boys on a Saturday, aren't you? You're making the drive down there.
Yeah.
With Southend being we played Torquay, we took loads down there because obviously Torquay's a nice place to visit. Southend, you would have thought if there was a lot of southern teams in the area, a day by the seaside, should it be a good away day for visiting supporters?
Yeah, I would have said so. Yeah, I think like most, the high street probably leaves a little bit to be desired, but down the seafront's lovely. Yeah, especially this time of year as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
seafront's very nice.
Looking forward to it, Paddy.
Absolutely not. No.
Are you boys looking
I
forward
think it's
to
a
it?
strange one. I think
Yeah.
it's a bit of a banana skin.
Do you think?
For
Yeah,
who?
I do. For us, I think it's. I think on obviously the game isn't played on paper, but when our fixtures come out, I thought we had a very tough first month based off of last season's final standings, and then you've got a relegated team in there. Yeah, I think playing relegated teams early on is always a bit of a banana skin.
Not for
But it'd be
Wealdstone.
interesting. I think if we come out of that with a win on Saturday, that's not a bad return from 4 games with 2 centre forwards out. Yeah, 5 points from 4 games. That would be. I'd probably be quite happy with that.
Same for us. Right, if we win on Saturday, then it's a decent start to the season. If we lose, 2 defeats, 1 win, a draw, it's not great. It could be.
Yeah.
I mean, our win, our 0-0 draw against Torquay was the first time we'd not been beaten on the opening day of the season since 2015. So just to get a point this season on the opening day was good.
We've had very similar last 4 or 5 years. I think we've been on identical declines, just a year apart from each other.
And this is the thing, isn't it? I mean, you look at all the clubs like us. You look at Scunthorpe and teams that whenever it happened to Wrexham, whenever it happened to Notts County, whoever it was, there's always a period of time where it's all just started going wrong, and it's not rocket science really to figure out that it's bad management. That is not exactly not coaching, but in terms of
management at the top,
management.
There's so many times we would say you'd hear little pockets of fans saying, you'd see it on Twitter, you'd see it on all the forums. Well, it can't get any worse, and I had to say, look, no, shut up, because it absolutely can, because it always does. Every time someone says that, it continues to get worse.
Well, Torquay have been down to National League South, haven't they? Stockport have been down to National League North. It can happen.
York happened to York as well.
We were convinced that if these owners stayed in charge of us this season, we'd be going the same way.
You were convinced, you mean?
Well, yeah, I think.
Were you not convinced?
I didn't think we're never going to go down from this division. We could have us.
No, you're actually right, Paddy, because we would have gone bust before we got we got a chance to go down. But you think how much we're struggling now. Imagine what it would have been like if Mo had still been recruiting, and and arguing with shares and all this kind of stuff, and saying, you can't sign Dan Gardner, you can't do this. It would have been an absolute disaster. I think there was every chance that if we hadn't have gone bust, which we would have done had these owners not come in, then we would have been in serious danger of getting relegated out of this division again, because we were just in that spiral of absolute catastrophe. It happened to stop. It can happen. There's no club that's too big at our level, because we're not, obviously compared to Southend, we're massive, obviously, huge. But we're not really, are we? You know what I mean?
We were identical last year. I think we lost to, I think it was Torquay. And it was about the 3rd time in 3 games we'd lost 1-0 in the last minute or something like that. And that was when we actually slipped into the relegation zone. And it's what are we actually doing?
When you late goals, when you're struggling like that, you give away late goals all the time, don't you? It happened to us, didn't it? It's
a mentality thing.
You're
just not concentrating.
Mindset. They just, last season.
Against Carlisle.
Swindon. It was just heartbreaking.
I couldn't tell you the last time we scored one in the last minute. That never happens.
Yes.
We never seem to nick a last minute winner.
When was the last time, Paddy?
Paddy.
When was the last time we scored a last minute winner?
God, I don't know. I can't remember last time we scored a winner.
I remember one actually. I remember one. We beat Kings Lynn 1. I think it was 1-0 last season. We got a last minute penalty, and it was never a penalty. It was a great tackle.
Kings Lynn, they got relegated, didn't they, last season?
Yeah, they did. It was honestly, it was never a penalty in a million years. But
we beat Port Vale last year, didn't we?
We did beat Port Vale at home last season with a very late goal.
Was that Sam High? It wasn't it?
An own goal, wasn't it?
Yeah. I knew you'd get there in the end, Paddy.
Port Vale,
yeah.
3-2.
Yeah, that was the part day, wasn't it? Yeah. Put Pidge up front, didn't he?
So, God.
Sums him up there, doesn't it?
So I want to just touch on the Phil Brown days at Southend. Can you just elaborate on that? Because I detest. He's the antithesis of football
Yeah.
and fair play, and as a human being, he's a tanned rat. I don't like him at all.
No, well, join the club. Join the club. I couldn't stand him.
So what was it like under
I
Brown?
don't know what we did to deserve him twice.
Twice.
We had him twice. We've had
Okay.
him as manager twice. Yeah, and yeah, look, you got to say at one point he had some reasonable success, but we're probably still now paying for it because he did bring in a lot of high earners at that particular time. That just wasn't sustainable for a club like us, and that was really the beginning of the slump. And then it was in the COVID season when with 6 games to go, we sacked the manager. It was Mark Molesley at the time, who's now at Aldershot. Then we got Phil Brown back in for 6 games, and then it was obviously a case of, okay, if he keeps us up, we're probably going to keep him. He didn't keep us up, and we still kept him. That was the start of last season, and that was the whole time there was protests on the pitch. The recruitment was abysmal. Well, do you know what? I'll give him the goalkeeper. He signed Steve Arnold, who ended up getting our player of the season. I'll give him that one.
Listen, even a stop clock tells the right time twice a day.
No, exactly. But yeah, other than that, the recruitment was pretty abysmal. It's just old timers that are coming to the end of their career. They've got little knocks. They can't train. They're injured. Like, it's just we're going nowhere with that kind of policy. That was pretty bleak. But thankfully, it didn't last too long.
That sounds very familiar, doesn't it, Paddy? Old timers can't train. I'm a bit worried. I am getting a bit.
I think you can get away with like 1 or 2 in the squad, but that aren't gonna play every game. But I think we had 5 or 6 that were expected to play every game. We had a centre midfielder last year, Abu Agogo, played 4 games. Played 4 games. I think made 4 appearances. Don't think he completed the 90 minutes in either of them. We discovered sort of midway through last season that he had a heart condition. Wasn't announced it was anything like COVID related or anything like that. He had a heart condition. Never saw him again. I think he's retired. We signed him about this time last year to play in the engine room. So it's like, that's what I mean. The recruitment was absolutely abysmal.
But it just gets to a point though when things are so bad at your club, you just have to sign whoever's prepared to sign. And it starts to feel like that, doesn't it? It starts to feel like players are running out of options, the club are running out of options, so they just sign them and hope that.
Yeah, that's where it's a little bit awkward because it's a bit cringy to think this way, but we are a bit of a pull at this level. If we're looking in the north and south, players will look at that and go, "Oh, they're a bit of a platform for me. If I go there and do well, I might get a move, or I might go up with them." So yeah, that's a bit new for us. We've never been an attractive club for players because normally they're on the way down. But now with like the current policy, it's definitely picking up younger players that are on the way up, which are, I'd rather have that every day of the week than, I mean, a lot of these players you've never heard of, but I'd absolutely rather have that than what we were doing last year. I don't think we've signed a player this year, permanent signing that is. We've brought in 1 on loan, but permanent signings, I don't think we've signed anybody over the age of 25.
Yeah, we have, haven't we?
So we signed anyone under 25.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we've gone from having a lack of experience to having plenty of experience.
A lot of experience in a lot of years. Yeah.
We were stuck in that middle ground for a spell last year. We had the experienced lads and then the youngsters, and there was very, very little in that middle ground of sort of like 25 to 29-year-olds. So we've definitely bridged that gap a little bit this year.
Paddy, how do you feel about the ownership takeover and what you've seen? I know it's very, very early in terms of like the first few weeks of it. It sounds to me, no offense, Scott, that Southend are like you've already said yourself, you know, you're still struggling. There's a lot of work to do. You've got the same chairman.
Oh, we're still at work.
You know,
We're massively at work.
Yeah, you're not gonna. There's not a feeling within yourself that you've got what it takes to sort of like bounce back into the football league anytime soon. Paddy, do you think that our owners are making the right noises early on? Is it too early to tell? Or
he's an infectious character, isn't he?
He certainly is. Yeah,
he's very impressed with him. I think it might be worth him perhaps taking a back step from the spotlight now, maybe letting Darren Royal be the front of it before he says anything that lands him in hot water, really. But yeah, I was there last Tuesday, met him, had quite a decent chat with him, and he's a very impressive, very infectious character, and he's on to win us straight away, isn't he? Because he's not the last lot. So anyone who's coming in is on to a winner.
Well, being able to be around the ground and be present, you know, mucking and, you know, filling in potholes in the car park and doing all that kind of stuff. It's all. I mean, there's been more positive PR in the first 3 weeks than there was in the last 3 years.
I'd like him to stick his hand in his pocket for a few new players, but
that's exactly my thoughts. You put your money where your mouth is now. You got your season tickets. Come on, you know, actions speak louder than words, don't they? And don't get me wrong. Filling a few potholes, getting the crowds back on side, shaking everyone's hand to buy a season ticket. It's that next step now to show that he's wants to move the club forward. You know, all the corporate boxes have sold out, all the sponsorships were sold out, so the money's coming in, and he said he's bought it debt free. So it's got to be sustainable somehow. So I know it's only 3 games, it's early days, but you need to see that progress now, ever so slowly. Do you know what I mean?
On both Saturday and yesterday. It was a nice place to be around until the football kicked off. But it was a nice place to be around. Everyone had a spring in the step. Everyone was positive. You know, last season, I think you went last year, didn't you, Dave? It was pretty grim at times, wasn't it? So it was nice that loads of people had a spring in the step Saturday and yesterday until John Sheridan and his charges knocked it all out of us.
I mean, we had a crowd, Scott, on Saturday of 8,500. We had 6,800 there last night. You know, brilliant crowds, like really, really good crowds. Not just for this level, like, you know, we'd be happy with a crowd like that in League One, I think, to be honest. Yeah. So, like, you know, that's the kind of the kind of vibe that we've got. Don't know how many are going to be going down on Saturday, but I'd imagine it will take a decent amount.
No, I think that'll feel like a league game. Really, because we'll have a good home crowd in it. I think I don't know how many away games you guys have done yet, but it hits home when you go to some of the away games. Yeah, that really hits home. Some of them are bleak. Trying to think what the worst one was. Maidenhead. That was rough.
Yeah,
was it?
Rough. It was just there's just nowhere near like enough space for people to stand, and you know what you've sold, like give or take. You got a very rough idea of what you've sold for this, and do a little bit of research. We travel quite well, and I ended up stood on like a knee height wall at the back for the whole game just so I could see the pitch, and I'm not short. Like people that are under 6 foot, you got no chance. So
there's not much of an incline then.
No,
in these places.
Do you know
Kings Lynn, obviously they went, but it was the same there. It does really hit home when you're at some of the away grounds.
These non-league grounds, obviously you've got your terracing like that. Is there a seating option as well for fans, or have you?
There is. Yeah, I think they have to, because obviously they got to offer some seats for disabled fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it won't be a lot. But yeah, they have to give.
I'll use my dad's disabled badge then.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be an experience, and I think just like we said to the Dorking lads last week on the phone, in like it feels like FA Cup first round every week, doesn't it? You know, like they're coming to Boundary Park and. You know, they're getting a big crowd, they're getting the experience. It's, you know, Boundary Park's from pitch level and from fan level, it's a decent, you know, from pitch side, it's a decent stadium. Facilities in it aren't great, and that needs working on.
But it'll be one of the better grounds.
Yeah, it's a good place to watch football, though. But, like, and then when we go to Dorking, Wealdstone, Southend, I'm just kidding. You know, it feels like the FA Cup first round. You know, you're in these tiny little places.
Yeah.
And
Where if
and
it is
so-
that, you quite enjoy it because it's a one-off.
exactly
Then,
for one
then
season,
you very
fine.
quickly realise you're going to these sorts of places every other week.
Exactly, and that's the
Yeah.
thing, and that's where the commitment of the fans to the supporters to stick at it, to keep buying season tickets, to keep turning up, to keep funding the club, to try and give them the resources to get out of the division. I mean, one of the things I thought was brilliant last night was just seeing the advertising hoardings actually full of adverts.
Yeah.
Different adverts from different, because the last couple of seasons it just said like Sky Bet, didn't it?
Yeah.
And you
And
get the Vanarama boards. Yeah.
yeah, it was just all the basics, but there's actually people
Yeah.
paying to sponsor the advertising boards and things like that. We've got the digital boards and they're actually, actually full of adverts. So like there is this momentum. It's just, fans lose interest. I mean, Paddy obviously was dying to get out of the house on the weekends, like, so he'll keep going regardless. But people want to see a team that wins at least every other game or so.
Yeah, he's hit the nail. Paddy hit the nail on the head. People want to see their team win football matches, and as soon as that stops, and as soon as there's a struggle, it'll just tail off, won't it? And
It's the easiest way to put bums on seats, isn't it? You can do any sort of marketing campaign you want, but if your team ain't winning games, you ain't going to want to go. You do kids for a quid, you could do what you like, but if they lose, you ain't going to want to go back.
No, and we've been putting up with that for a while because we've been bobbins.
So have you got predictions then, Scott?
1-0.
2.
To Oldham, yeah.
Southend. 1-0 Southend.
Give up.
It'll
You've
be
already said it's a
scrappy.
banana skin, mate.
Paddy?
I think they'll beat us,
And you're still going, aren't you?
I think they'll beat us.
We're due one. We're due a win.
It knocked the stuffing out of me that yesterday to lose to Wealdstone. I know you said before about never think you've hit rock bottom, but losing to Wealdstone at home has to be rock bottom. I think they're going to struggle. I do. I think you get the ball in our box, you're going to cause problems. Get the ball on the football pitch, you're likely to cause us problems. I think we'll get beat 3-1.
Wow.
Dave, you reckon we'll win 4-0 there?
I'm going to say... I'm not going to say. I never say. Go on, Matt.
I'm going to go for 1-1. I think it'll be a draw. I think you've got draws written all over you. I think away from home, like we drew at Torquay, the games have been, score-wise have been fairly tight. We don't seem to... Dorky made it easy for us because they played very openly. Like they played very expansive game, left a lot of space. So yeah, I'm going to go for 1-1. I think it'll be a tight game. I don't think it'll be a classic.
I'm open to changing my prediction if we sign 3 players by Saturday, though.
Well, let's hope we do because we desperately need them. We desperately need them. What's your podcast called again, Scott?
It's called the Custard Splat.
Is there a particular reason? Is it because of the yellow on your kit?
It's based off this shirt, believe it or not. This was...
It's match worn, isn't it? Is that match worn?
It's not match worn, no. I applied these myself because I'm a sado.
This is match worn.
He's a sado when it comes to match.
Yeah,
worn.
very much so.
Yeah, it was this kit was 97, 99. I think it was a 2-year home kit, and we got back-to-back relegations in it.
Oh, a lucky one.
Yeah, it got dubbed by some I don't know, newspaper or magazine at the time. This looks like a custard splat. So it just.
When's your podcast out, mate?
We try and do one once a month, but we're quite loose with it, to be honest. But you know what it was? When we started doing it, it was when we were right in the eye of the storm, and we were just abysmal. And we didn't want to become one of them where it was like Arsenal fan TV, where we were just whinging all the time, because that's what we would have been doing. No, but we didn't want to be just like hammering people, because it was that bad. If we were to talk about it, it would have just been abusive the entire time. So. Funnily enough, that first lockdown was our best spell, because we got loads of players on, loads of ex-players. So yeah, that was our best little stint, probably about 2 years ago now.
Well, hopefully, you'll have positive things to talk about after Saturday. Obviously, we need the points. We need the points. So you do, we do. Let's see what happens. But thanks for joining us tonight, mate. Really appreciate it.
Guys. No, I enjoyed it.
Thanks very much
Brilliant.
indeed.
Thank you.
And we'll see you. Let us know if you're coming up to when are you up here? It'll be in winter, won't it?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll have to have a look.
get yourself up here.
I'll have
We're
a look.
freezing. You'll have a time of your life, mate. Cheers. Thanks for joining us, Scott.
Cheers, guys.
See you, mate. Paddy, thanks for joining us.
No
You were
problem.
the only, nobody else called in tonight, which is a bit disappointing, don't you think, Dave?
It's but it's holidays.
Is that what
August.
it is?
And I think they're a bit fickle. The Oldham fans get beat and they just won't
Oh,
bother. I'm
Colin.
only joking.
That's why I
Calling
keep
you.
on, because we got beat. If we'd have won, I wouldn't have really been bothered enough to come on.
I know our kid said he was going to come on tonight and give it a good moan, and he hasn't shown his face. So, but yeah, thanks for coming on, mate. Appreciate
I
it.
do really
Thanks
do
for having
appreciate
me.
it. Thanks, mate. Thank you.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you.
A safe journey down to Southend.
Right then.
You know what? I'd just like to mention one more
Thank our
time.
sponsors.
Beef paste.
Yes, beef.
Beef paste. Mmm, I love the taste. Beef paste. Beef paste. Beef paste. Beef paste. Mmm, I love your face.
The Boundary Park Alert System is hosted and produced by Matt Dean and Andy Halliwell for Q-Pod Productions. Visit oafcpodcast.co.uk for loads more info, including how to support us for just $2.99 per month, how to sponsor the show to raise money for the 1895 fund, and to read Arlene's brilliant weekly blog. Please follow and interact with us on social media at OAFC Podcast, and you can help change the game by listening to us on the Fan Hub app along with all major podcast platforms. Please like, subscribe and review the pod to help us climb the rankings and get more listeners. Pushtheboundary.co.uk and oasf.co.uk are where you'll find out all about our official supporters groups, getting involved and continuing to raise money for the 1895 fund. Don't miss the Latics football phone-in with myself and Dave Bradley every Wednesday from 8:30 till 9:30 at youtube.com/the Boundary Park Alert System. Follow us on socials at OAFC Phone-In. You can also catch us on the brand new Greatest Manchester Football Podcast live every Thursday night from 8 till 9 on the Greatest Manchester Football Podcast YouTube channel. Follow at GMFootPod for all the details. The title music for the show is by DJ and producer Starion with an R, and for more information visit bandcamp.com/Red Laser Records.